Hello, everybody in Obsessed Hub. It has been an amazing day. So all the way down from south with the Dagwood dog guy, all the way back up to Brisbane with the amazing, incredible, epic human Jess Clare. She is, I mean, if you don't already know, she is literally epic. There isn't really much that she doesn't do, but she's the CEO of the #1 social media school for entrepreneurs. She's also got a not-for-profit, which is, I'm just going to make sure I'm going to write this, so I've got all of this right. So Here on Purpose, is that right?
Yeah, that's it.
Yep. Mother of 2, doer of stuff and things, and creator of awesome. And some other stuff
Yes.
which we're going to talk about tonight.
Yeah, so thank you so much for having me on this group. I absolutely love it. So yeah, I'm pretty excited. I'm trying to find myself. Oh, there I am. Hello, people. Now I can watch you. Yes.
I can watch myself watching us.
I can watch the comments. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, I've already I'm following you like a stalker, and basically, I just your whole energy and your whole vibe, and we talk about it a lot. And I know that you and I have had many conversations off air about authenticity, and I know that you and I both struggle with that word because sometimes it's an overused word, and I think that people start to use it. I really honestly think to try and trick people into thinking that they are authentic. But you actually, I think you're just like a living, breathing version of what true authenticity is.
Okay.
You all know, right? It is.
Okay.
Well, look at us go. You just human AF, which is the tagline.
I think I mean, firstly, thank you. And I don't know that my ex-girlfriends would agree, but that's fine. There's always going to be someone that doesn't. But yeah, that's the thing for me that is really important is that you don't hide anything. Like I'm all about why hide any of it. Yeah. I'm in relationships, I've been desperate, needy, and obsessive. And wondered why they haven't worked. At times, I like to say when people put up a post and go, we need to stop abuse, I'm about going, well, where have I been abusive in my life? Where have I done the things that people are trying to say others do? And I'm all about how do you own that and how do we come to owning our own behavior? If we want to stop domestic violence, if we want to stop this stuff, we have to actually own the part in which we play in all of it. So rather than me going, oh, who else is doing it? Everyone else is doing it. I'm like, well, where am I a part of this? So I guess for some people that is like really like, I can't believe she's saying that about herself. But I think it's key to healing a lot of these issues.
Yeah, I mean, I'm hearing you speak and hearing you say that takes chops. It takes courage to be able to even recognize that in yourself and acknowledge it, Jess. That's a unique thing. That's not a normal thing for most people to do. So how do you do it? How do you actually do that?
It is definitely not the way I was. I like to say I would like to thank all of the circumstances in my life that led up to where I am today. I think about 6 years ago, I was in a very unhappy marriage. I had all the things. I had a really great job. I had a house. I had this, hot partner. We had kids, and I was all about the things. And I was miserable. And I had friendships that were really surface level and unfulfilling, and not from my friends, from me, right? But I think after getting to a point where I went, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to live this kind of life. And so I met this person that said to me, I was really angry. I wasn't angry, and I was a bully. Like I was this corporate bully, and I was rewarded for it. That was something that I really acknowledge now too. Right. I was rewarded for being a corporate bully. If people didn't do what I wanted in my projects, I'd find ways to get them to undermine their work and get them fired or get them put off. And this was rewarded, and I was frustrated, empty, disconnected. And then I I had this one woman who was so brutal but loving. So there was this element of her that was so I don't know how to put it, but it was like this deep compassion, but also at the same time wouldn't put up with anything that I kind of did. And she just said to me, are you going to complain for the rest of your life about everyone, or are you going to go do something about it? And it was that moment I went home and I went and, went into my first like growth mindset course, personal development course, right? And I was like, I don't even know what this shit is, but I'm going to go do it because, I don't know, she seems to have some really cool skills to like love people.
Have it shit together. Yeah.
Yeah, but she didn't. She was also very authentic. Like she would own all of her stuff. Like that was the thing that was so unique about her as well. So I booked in and did this course, and I came out with this access and this communication to be able to share things that I never knew how to share. And yeah. I've never stopped doing it. And the whole foundation of a lot of the work of this particular course was how to be authentic and how to tap into your own integrity. So I never stopped practicing it. That's probably, so I was definitely not born this way. And what I had to do was own my bully, own my abuser, own my own my perpetrator. I had to go and own all the things that people hate about others, the things that I hated about people. I had to go and own my part in all of it. And there was so much freedom in that.
What did that look like? Because I know obviously like you can, because I totally resonate with what you're saying. And, we've spent some time together, so I can completely, I just understand, I get you. But what does that look like for someone that's like not just, what does it look like and what does it feel like to own?
What does it look like? So a good example is probably, what does it look like? Let me give you an example. So here I am, say, 5 years ago in this marriage that I thought was great. And it looks so good on the outside. And I'm someone that is wanting all this change in the world. And I'm finding myself in these arguments with my partner. And like I would call, she would yell, I would yell, but how we were kind of portraying ourselves on social media is that we were just so happy and everything was so great. And what was actually going on is, if I put myself back in this really vulnerable moment, is I'm going overseas and she's not doing something that I wanted. So I'm like throwing myself on the floor, crying, trying to manipulate the situation, yelling at her. And then we ended up breaking up, and this is something that was repeated. I hit myself just to kind of because I was angry in front of my children once. So I did this stuff. And then I would go, so we broke up, and then we would have these, be argy-bargy arguments. And then we broke up, and then all of that went on to email and back and forth, and she was saying things to me and I was saying things to her. And all the time I'm going, I want change in the world.
Yeah. And you got to change your world before you can change any other world, right?
So I ended up coming like clean to my family. But what I was holding on to, and this was the thing, was that I was like, but what about what she does? There was so much of a, and then, what about what she does? And there was so much justification for how I was being because of how I was being treated, right? So much. I could justify to you, and I bet if I told you exactly what happened, you'd totally be like, oh, it's so justified. Right? However, what I started to see was this kind of rise of people talking about the narcissist and the abuser and all of that. And look, there are real genuine cases of this, but like the narcissistic personality disorder, and there's some real ones. But what I really got was that if I want to make a difference, I need to take my focus off other people's behavior. I need to reorientate it and go, who do I want to be in the world? I want to go out and shift what it is to be a leader and make a difference on this like globe about, you know, what it is to be a leader. I'm going to have to start owning how I behaved in that moment. Me, you know, how I manipulated the situation, trying to get what I wanted, how I was dominating, how what I would say to her and how I would use my voice and yell in order to hurt her so that I could win. And that is what we call abuse. And there's really, you know, and every now and then I still do it. I still raise my voice. And then I would go, hang on, this is what it is to be human.
Yeah.
We sometimes raise our voice. We sometimes get angry when thing doesn't work. We sometimes actually manipulate the situation by crying. We sometimes, like, I started to see everyone's doing this, and maybe that there would be real power if we could all start to just own it.
Yeah.
And start to acknowledge our own behavior. So now I just have become obsessed with being the one to do that constantly, and also know I have absolutely no attachment to that anyone else does. It's like, no, this is just what I'm doing. And from what I can see, it is having a real impact.
Oh, it's so refreshing, and like sitting here listening to you, it again, like I've got to congratulate you, because it's not often you meet people like yourself that are prepared just to own all of it, the good stuff, the bad stuff, because I think that people are quick to kind of say, hey, I'm amazing, look at all these amazing things, but not many people are out there saying that these, like, I did some really fucked up shit, and you're just out there being human AF, because that's what the tagline, and you're cool with it now.
Yeah.
But
it's actually, like, as far as I can see, what is going to complete, for me at least, that is really going to have a world of inclusion and take away this need to separate.
Well,
yeah, you go.
Yeah, you're right, because I actually want to talk about it, because you talk about being unstoppable in your goal to see diversity and inclusion of 8 billion people. Now, they are some big figures, babe. That's very specific. I want to know, how are you going to do that?
Oh, well, that's right. So if you think about it, right, 8 billion people is a lot of people. I can't get to 8 billion people. But every single person that I touch during the day, if everyone was focused on the way that they treated that person in front of them in every moment and aligned who they really are with that. So the guy at the coffee shop, or depending on whether you're in Melbourne or not, but, you know, whoever, whether it's online, we need to treat our online spaces as if they're really real, because real people are on them as well. That's another big thing. That's what we focus on in our social media school, is that the online is exactly like someone's in front of you.
Can I just, that's a perfect, I want to talk about that, because it actually is so important. And I think, look, the term itself, social media, is social. And it is no different to like going out to a place, a nightclub, a bar, a restaurant, or meeting somebody like face to face. The whole point of it is so that you can be human and have a human interaction online. And I think that, especially with what's happened this year, online has brought us closer together in a weird, odd way. So you do this. You have a social media school.
Yeah.
Tell me.
I absolutely do. We have a social media school. Now I'm plugging. Now
Good.
It's for visionaries and creative thinkers, like people that have always felt like, I even joke about it, that have maybe been accused of having undiagnosed ADHD. Maybe you even do. People that are different, have never felt quite like they fit in. And the people that I seem to resonate with have this kind of burning desire to see inclusion emerge in this world. So this is not utopia. People are like, oh, they're creating utopia. Absolutely not. The world I'm creating still has a whole lot of conflict in it. It's who people are in the face of conflict that I care about. Who are you in the face of conflict?
Yeah.
Because conflict is inevitable and is necessary for growth, right? So it's like it has to happen. I'm actually all for it. I think conflict is the most is like, I think, you know, some of the people I follow calling it having a contender, like people in your life are your contenders. So it's important. However, who are we in the face of conflict? Like I was before, you know, when I realized I was a bully, in the face of conflict, I will cut you down, take you out. I will make sure that you never get a job. Like I was, fuck you. That's who I was in the face of conflict. And I was good at it. And there's still a part of that. Like I have that human being in me. I just don't act on it anymore. I have that human. And I think everyone does. And it's the people that, and it's the people that are this, we all have it. We all have a fuck you, I'll take you out. And then there's the people that act on it and justify it. And then there's the people act on it and then call it authentic. That's what I find, that's what I find the most astounding, is that that's not authentic at all. It is not authentic in our nature. No.
That's ego. It comes from a place of ego.
Yeah, but even ego is like, how do you put this? Who we are in the face of conflict is not who we really are. Who we really are is what happened when we were born. We were born this pure little thing that had no idea of what the hell was going on, and all that was known is to love. Like, that's it. I just knew how to love. That's it. And then if I got hungry, I'll just cry and mum will come and sort me out, right? Or dad. So that's all it were, just this ball of love. And that's why you can get lost looking at children, right? Because the energy that's in a child is pure. Yeah. That's who we really are authentically. But we're given this brain that's all about survival, and we have to integrate those parts. We have to integrate our survival with the purity that we were born with. And it's like life's lesson. And how we do that and our willingness to actually do that is what makes our life great or not.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. When's your book coming out?
Yeah. Well, yes, I actually do. I am writing a book at the moment. I was like, I'm gonna turn this into a book, right?
I know you are.
And I have to credit all of the people that. Oh man, are you hearing those dings? Sorry about that.
No, I can't hear it. It's all good. Carry on. It's all good.
But I have to credit. It's not like I just became this person, right? I had this woman, and this is why I'm like, it's so important that you are the one who says it's not okay with me. It's so important that you are the one that if you notice something happening in your family or your friends, that you go, I don't know how to have this conversation and I may actually lose you as a friend, but what you're doing is not okay. And if someone is breaking the law, it's important that you tell them to go to the police or you will.
Yeah.
And our ability to impact some of the biggest issues that you've been talking on Obsessed, human trafficking, domestic violence, is our ability to not tolerate it in our own environment.
Well, do you, let's talk about that for a second, because and I love that subject, and you know that we have it's very close to my heart. So do you think that maybe that's an Australian thing where you know, don't be a dobber, mind your own business, kind of like that kind of vibe? Do you think that's an Australian thing, or you just think it's a global problem? Because it's a problem.
I think it's a human being thing. So, I mean, it seems to be in all cultures. In the Middle East, it's you hush hush. In the India, it's don't ruin the family's reputation. You know, it's in Australia, it's tall poppy. In America, it's, you know, rah rah, everything's really great. The American dream. So it's almost like whatever culture you've got, there's this aspect of you've got to hide and not acknowledge the things that don't match. Whereas I'm saying, instead of hide and not acknowledge, I'm saying do the opposite. You've got to acknowledge and stand for and interrupt the things that don't match. So it's
I need
the
all of
opposite.
this shit on t-shirts, mate. That's what we need.
Yes.
T-shirts, all this stuff. You need to be
Yeah.
holding this up in signs and like getting this message out. This is why I love talking to you, honestly. It's epic. I just love it. Sorry, I rudely interrupted.
No, I love talking. I love talking about this because it's like, you know, it seems simple, but it's not easy. And the hardest thing for me was actually letting go. And I have haters. You know, I do have people in my life that don't like me because I do stand for this. And I also have a lot of compassion for my own humanity, and I'm not perfect. So I will screw things up. I will have, you know, in my past, I will have raised my voice at people and really upset them.
Can I ask?
Yeah.
On haters, right? Because I know that,
Yeah.
like, I know I've just listened to everything that you've just said, but on haters, how do you deal with them? Actually,
How do I deal with them?
Yeah. What are
Oh,
some of the
I
things
actually just had a post. Someone wrote a post on me today. It was awful. And it's like, well, I have exactly the same response again that I would want, you know, for me. I look at it from purity. It's like, I've got to hold space for love here.
Mm.
This person said some awful things about me. Pretty sure that I know who they are. Like, there's someone from my past, right? So, but I was like, I really love these people that I have not managed to reconcile stuff with. Like, I really do. And I was a jerk to them. I'm not going to like pretend I wasn't. So I understand why they're pissed at me. I've never found a way to get them willing to work it out with me. And I think that's the only thing we've got going on in the world is we haven't had people willing to work it out. So how do I respond? I respond like, I kind of get why they're pissed at me, you know, and at the same time, I'm unwilling to tolerate being treated badly, and I'm open 100% to working it out from love under any circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's songs written about all we need is love. And as cheesy as it sounds, if you come from a place of love, I mean, I had a conflict today with somebody that I treasure dearly. And for me, I could have gone into that. And I do that. I'm very similar. I'm like you, Jess. I'm like, fuck you. Yeah. No, me. What about me? And I was like, no, actually, I need to think about the other person here and how they're feeling and address it that way. What would I want someone else to think about me in this situation?
Yeah. Look, and the fuck you always comes first. Like, that's the thing we have to acknowledge as human beings. It's like when someone does something like that, it's human to go and want to go fuck their shit up. Right? It's like, I want to. The only difference between someone who owns it and someone that doesn't is the action. I will act on it or I won't. And then we get this swirl of people that are actually being assholes to each other, blaming the other person. And then it gets even more heated, and then it turns into a domestic violence. And then it goes even worse and becomes murder. You know, like it's like these things are not necessary. We need to take ownership of our own reactions. And I'm just going to say it, where both of us are a part of it. I'm aggravating you. I want you to have a reaction so you feel as bad as me. And then it's like, I want you to feel as bad as me. And now two people are trying to keep that cycle going, hoping one of them wins. And whoever has the worst reaction generally loses. It's terrible. People are being awful to each other. It's just to own it. Own that that's a part of being human. It is human.
I feel like you're inside my head right now. I've got a dispute with a neighbor.
Yeah. And it's not easy. Sometimes you fully want to just be right about it. And you probably should. You know, you probably are right. Yeah. One of the things I did was I gave up my right to be right. I stopped needing to be. I actually was okay to be wrong about everything, even when I knew I was right. Yeah, that was hard. That's a tough pill to swallow. But it's like, you know, whatever this neighbor is, is like pissed at, and
Yeah. Look, I mean, I had an experience today. I was actually buying, so I went and bought some equipment, and I talked about this off air. Went and bought some equipment and went into a small business, and small business is doing it tough at the moment, right?
Yeah.
And this beautiful gentleman, he was so patient, took the time to explain everything, help us set it all up, all the rest of it. And then I was like, could you do it any cheaper? Is there any like discount or, do you price compete? And I took out my phone, and his whole energy and his whole demeanor shifted. And I just, in that moment, he literally and then we got to a point in that moment, I was like, oh, I just wanted to ask. And he says, oh no, the boss. And he made some throwaway comment. I said, anyway, it doesn't matter. Let's just get the deal done. And he kind of relaxed. And then he goes, oh, thank you so much. Because so many people come in here, they take up my time and my energy, and they take all of that. And then this is the right part. People have the right to do what I did, right? They have the right to go and look for other prices and do all that kind of stuff. But just because you have the right doesn't make it right, in my view, right?
Yeah. Well, because we have the choice.
Yeah.
We have the choice in how we act in every moment. And I'm just going to say it. Mostly, people are treating each other terribly.
They are, yeah.
I even have to notice, because I do a lot of work on this. I notice every day where I've done it the day before. Where have I not really been present with someone? Where have I not really been great with someone? Where have I allowed my humanity to take over, right? And I'm fully at work on this every day. And I'll make sure I go and acknowledge it.
Man, I don't know. Is it an age thing? Do you think that maybe maturity plays? Yeah, human. But do you think maturity plays a part in it, or do you think it's upbringing, or what is it? Because it is, for me, it feels like a light switch. Because everything you're saying right now is exactly everything I'm going through, and I'm the same as you. I haven't always been this way. I'm usually at a bull at a gate, and I'm kind of mellowing out in my old age. I don't.
Like I said, I'm no different. I have the reactions, and then sometimes, particularly around a certain time of the month, I even do fade out. Sometimes I do get super frustrated at my housemate, my employees, and I'm voice noting, why the hell have you done that? And then 24 hours later, I contact my VA, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I was so annoyed yesterday, and I wasn't really. And you know what? She appreciates that so much.
Yeah.
I don't hide who I am. I just acknowledge, and I'm responsible for who I am. It's like, I know that certain people are just going to trigger me. So I don't spend much time with them. I know people that, certain people, I just can't. So I'm about acknowledging. It's not trying to fix or change me. It's acknowledging. This is just, I'm a human being.
Yeah. And this is your whole thing. I mean, you've built your entire, it's not coming out yet, but you've got a podcast coming out. And so if anybody that's actually listening to this, or anybody that's going to do the rewatch, and I don't know about anybody else that's listening, but I seriously could sit and listen to you all day. You just speak with such wisdom and clarity and I'm going to say it, authenticity, but genuine authenticity. So you've got it's called Human Business, isn't it? Human Business Podcast.
Yes.
What's it all about?
Business. So Human Business, so I have this belief that, well, it's not just a belief, it's definitely, true. And that is, I was just going to say that, and yet all of my work is about there is no truth. But this is true, that a lot of the power exists in business, and the power to influence exists in business. So for me, creating a social media school for entrepreneurs is about creating the opportunity for humanity-led business, but taking people's ideas for impacting humanity. So, I've got clients that are in, ending human trafficking, domestic violence. I've got someone that's transforming the family care system, as well as men's work, empowering men. So I teach them how to, these people are usually generally very focused like a charity, except charities don't work. Okay, I'm going to say it. I'm happy for people to get annoyed at me for that. But what I mean is that the charity becomes so focused on keeping itself going, it doesn't always make the impact it wants to make. I'm about teaching people with humanity-led ideas how to be business owners and go out and make the impact you really want to make. And you treat your idea as a business, not like you have to beg for money. Right?
So I'm just on that. I mean, because there's so many businesses, especially now. And I think, again, I'm going to use that word, unprecedented times, where we're now openly talking about, not about the COVID so much, but openly talking about human trafficking. And I've never heard so much talk. I've never seen so much media. There's so many businesses that are all wanting to kind of go, shit, okay, we've got to do something more than ourselves here. Because the people that are coming through, the energy that's in the world, you can't ignore it. You can't ignore it. People want to do business with people that give a shit about them, something other than themselves.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think it's the perfect time for it as well. Like, it's like, what's the point right now? We're in a global shutdown. There's so many things socially going on. There's arguments as to whether this is a real virus. I'm pretty clear it's a real virus, or if this is people making it up. Is there some big plan? There's never been such a level of mistrust in our entire, certainly as far as I understand. There's so many mixed views about everything that's going on. No one knows where to turn. I think it's time for people to actually go and express what there is that they want to express, connect to who they are, get their voice out, and actually get behind it like a business. Like, put your money where your mouth is. If you really care about making a difference to domestic violence, human trafficking, authoritarian government, if you really want to take the system to a new level, then your leadership needs to be expressed.
Yeah. Well, don't be part of the confusion, be part of the clarity and the answers.
Yes.
So this is what you do. You do this as a job. This is your purpose. This is your passion.
It is.
So, look, we are, I mean, seriously, it's flown. I'm literally looking at the clock going, Jesus Christ, 30 minutes. And I know that you are all about being on time.
I am. Integrity.
No, I love it. It's so good. Honestly, I mean, I'd love to have you back. I definitely would love to have you back. I think that I'd like to spend some more time doing some deep dives into some of the stuff that you've be a bit more specific.
Sure.
But honestly, if there's anybody that's watching and you want to where can people find you?
So Jess Clare, my profile, my Facebook profile. You can also follow me at the Jess Clare Group on Instagram. I also am the owner of the group called the Human Business Collective, which is also a Facebook group if you want to follow that one.
Awesome.
And you can reach out to me. I mean, I don't hide anything. You click on anything, my phone number's everywhere. So I'm like, call me. I'm 0477 004411. I mean, I may not get back to you. It could actually be my assistant. I don't try and keep myself private. I'm like anti-private. I'm like, no, we got to connect this world. So yeah.
And you know what? That's why we love you. That's why we love you so much. And that's exactly why we get obsessed with people like you, Jess, because we're the same. We're Googleable. You can find us. You can phone us. It doesn't necessarily mean you get to speak to us and pin us down, but we're not hiding anything.
No, I may put you under my assistant, but we're going to get back to you and we will talk.
At some point. Listen, thank you so much for joining us. Literally, it's just the time has flown. I really do appreciate your time. You are an epic human being, and we love you. Thank you so much for today.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, Hayley. Thank you, guys.
See you guys soon.
Bye.
Bye, darling.